What's up, everybody? This is Eric with SoCal Exotics. Today, I'm going to be doing a POV review on my second favorite car of all time, the Lamborghini Aventador LP700 Super Veloce. Now, this one's very special. It's got a Gintani exhaust and a Stage 2 tune, so you're not going to want to miss me driving this thing. I want to give a big shout out to BigTimeRidez. They have a massive fleet of exotic and luxury cars for rent, so check them out. I'm going to throw them in the description. BigTimeRidez. They've got this SV, a Huracan, R8, G-Wagons, Rolls Royces, everything you can think of at BigTimeRidez. So I'll throw the link in over there, and a big shout out to them for making this possible. This is one of my dream cars. The SV Aventador is my second favorite car. My first is the Murcielago SV, so the predecessor to this car. And let's get right to it. So this sports a 6.5 liter V12. It's about 750 horsepower. It revs out to 8,400 RPM, so high revving V12, single clutch 7-speed transmission, so every shift just bangs you in the back of the head. It's about 3,900 pounds, so she's a little heavy. 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds and a top speed of 217 miles an hour. So not only does it look like a rocket, but it performs like one too. And I gotta tell you, the SV is probably one of the most beautiful and aggressive looking cars on the market today, in existence. I mean, just look at the shape of this thing, look at the angles, extremely aggressive compared to the base LP700 model. And speaking of the LP700, compared to it, this has about 170 to 180% more downforce, and that's done with the front lip here that's a little bit more aggressive and sleek. You also have the rear wing here to help with downforce. So a lot of different features between the base Aventador and this one to make this, at the time, the Nürburgring King. In 2015, when this car came out, it beat the Nürburgring time in under 7 minutes, and it took a hypercar like a Porsche 918 Spyder to knock it down not too far after. But this kind of started getting Lamborghini into making track cars or track focused cars that can really do damage on the track. I mean, after this, they came out with the Performante. That beat the Nürburgring time. Obviously, the SVJ coming back after this beat the Nürburgring time as well. So it really kind of started the standard for Lamborghini starting to make track weapons that actually performed. So on top of the downforce, this has 50 more horsepower over the original Aventador, as well as the changes to the suspension. They made the chassis a lot stiffer, and they did a lot of adjustments in the electronic steering as well. And compared to the Nürburgring times, the base Aventador was a 7 minutes 30 seconds. This was under 7 minutes, so 6:59, 30 seconds faster than the base Aventador. That's a massive difference on a track. So huge kudos to Lamborghini for taking this absolute monster beast and making it perform as well as it did. One of the other things I wanted to talk about is the rarity of this car. So not a lot of people know, but there's a lot less SVs than SVJs. There's almost 60% less of these than the SVJs. You have 600 coupe, 500 roadster for a total of 1,100 SVs in the world. The SVJs, they made 900 coupe, 800 roadster, and 63 special editions. So there's about 1,763 SVJs and 1,100 SVs. So I think in the future, these are gonna hold up really well compared to the SVJs. And I also think collectors are gonna love the SV because it's the last Lamborghini that doesn't have much help. The SVJ has the rear wheel steering, it has active aerodynamics, and this is just lacking all of that extra tech. Here's the key to the SV. Let's open it up and show you guys the interior, and then ultimately show you guys what it sounds like. So first thing I realize is the carbon fiber tub here, beautiful Aventador logo. And the first thing that I notice every time I get in to an SV is the single piece carbon fiber doors. They look so cool. And I love the carbon fiber bucket seats that have carbon fiber on the back. Get the nice SV package that shows the SV and the Lamborghini logo on these seats. I love it. Get some carbon here as well, and SV on the side. Everything is pretty much wrapped in Alcantara. The seats, the portions here are half leather and Alcantara on the console. And yeah, you lift this up, give it a good flick, and hear this thing go. My second favorite thing of the SV is the Veneno style rev limiter. This tachometer is unbeaten in my eyes. I think this is the coolest tachometer out there. So one of my other favorite things. And really just a really great steering wheel shape as well. Alcantara leather, and I think it looks amazing. Let's go outside and hear what it sounds like. I'm gonna give it a couple revs so you guys can hear what it sounds like. So let's go over some of the driving modes on the SV. Strada is where you're going to be able to drive the calmest. The exhaust is a lot quieter, the suspension is a lot damper, so it's a lot softer, and the throttle response is a lot less, so it's overall a better daily driving mode. In sport mode, that's where you get the exhaust opening up a little bit, the throttle response is a lot better, and the car definitely gets a lot stiffer in sport mode. You also get a lot of pops, and it sounds the best in sport mode. Now, let me tell you guys about a different animal. Once you put this car in Corsa, it opens up completely. The shifts hit you in the back of the head like a hammer. The suspension is extremely stiff. You barely have to move the steering wheel to get any adjustments. And the throttle response is like a hairpin trigger. It's immediate. So let me tell you what I'm on about these shifts being absolutely brutal. Let's go from second to third to fourth. Oh, man. Yeah, Corsa is where you really experience this car at full might. I mean, those shifts are brutal. Let me let you guys hear this exhaust a little bit. This Gintani exhaust and tune is like no other. Sounds amazing. Only Aeroflow and Gintani have that high-pitched scream that I really love in an Aventador exhaust. Put a couple more downshifts here. Talking about the car, how it handles. Compared to a standard Aventador, this feels a lot more nimble. I mean, we're talking about 100 pounds lighter and 50 horsepower more, and on top of that, a stiffer chassis. So a lot better nobility in this car. It doesn't feel as big of a Lamborghini as it is. So especially when you put it into Corsa, we're in sport mode right here. We'll brutalize the shifting, but man, it really stiffens up the way the car feels. I would love to take this car on a track. Doesn't feel quite as nimble as something like a GT3 or even something like a McLaren 750 or 720, but it feels very track focused compared to a big heavy Aventador like the base model. I'd love to compare this to what the S or SVJ is. I know those have the rear wheel steering and a lot more tech, but I can't feel like it gets too much better than this. It feels almost like a Huracan. It's very nimble, it's very light on its toes. The front end feels very light compared to something like a Murcielago or even a base Aventador. I mean, when you're in a Corsa mode, you really start to feel everything on the road, and just the slightest movement on your steering wheel, slightest adjustments, and you're already switching lanes and getting into apex. A couple other things I want to talk about this car: the comfortability. I think this car is extremely comfortable for being a track-focused supercar. I've been in these bucket seats for not only as a driver but as passenger many times in an Aventador SV, and the back never really hurts. My butt never really hurts, even if I'm in the car for 3-4 hours, which is kind of pretty good. I mean, I've been in 458s, and even the F8 that I drove recently was starting to hurt my back after 2-3 hours, so very comfortable. But there are a lot of blind spots. This car is really wide and the windows don't really do it justice, so you have a really bad blind spot right over here. But as long as you're careful, you're aware of your surroundings, you could daily this car if you wanted to. Just put it in strata mode, it'll be nice and quiet. This suspension will be a little bit softer, so you don't have to worry about all the bumps and everything. But if you wanted to, you could daily this. Compared to some of the newer cars that are out right now in this price range between 400 and 600,000, cars like the Ferrari 296, the Ferrari F8, even the Lamborghini Temerario, or even a Revuelto. Some of the Revueltos are in the 650, 700,000 range. Some of these SVs trade in that area. So why would you choose this? Well, 750 horsepower is a lot. I don't need 1,000 horsepower to enjoy a supercar. I could barely use all 750 horsepower of this. So I would say it's fast enough to scratch that itch. It sounds amazing. Naturally aspirated V12. This is better sounding than 99% of the modern supercars that we get today, and I think that's a big factor. I think the looks of this car is another huge factor. I don't think we get jaw-droppingly beautiful Lamborghinis like this anymore. I think the Murcielago SV and the Aventador SV are the last true jaw-dropping special edition Lamborghinis that in my opinion that we're gonna see. So I like the collectability of it. I love the sound of it. I like the look of it. It's a lot more fun to drive than something like a 296 F8. Maybe not as nimble as something like a GT3 RS, but for the beauty, for the sound, for the rarity, I think it's worth way more in those aspects, and that's why I would choose this. That's why this is one of my favorite cars of all time. Definitely proved itself to me why I love this car so much, why it's my second favorite all time. It's like I met my hero and it exceeded all of my expectations. Man, it just sounds so good. You just want to play with the gears just to hear that V12. Now, something that you guys should know if you're ever behind the wheel of this thing is these single clutch transmissions do not like to downshift into first. So when you're coming to a stop, it's much better to just put it into neutral and then put it back into first when you're ready to get up and go again. Man, I love these carbon fiber doors. They just look so good. There's not a lot of cars that the interior gets me this excited. You have the beautiful Veneno dash, you got carbon fiber doors, you got carbon fiber side mirrors, carbon fiber everywhere, and then you got this beautiful sounding V12. This car just handles so great in the apex of the turns. It's surprising that it's a 4,000-pound Lamborghini. So a lot of people are gonna ask me, and have asked me in the past, what is the best exhaust for the Aventador SV? Aeroflow makes a pretty good argument for the best Aventador SV exhaust. They have one that's around $6 grand brand new, so I think it's a bargain as well. You have Valvetronic, they have an extremely high pitch as well. I love that company. And then you have Gintani as well. They're the kind of the OGs of this high-pitched exhaust for the SVs and SVJs. So that's my take. I think they're all three pretty equal. I think Aeroflow has a little bit of a higher pitched and less of the burbles and pops. But I think those are the top three companies that make exhausts. I can't tell you which one I like the most, but all three of those are very high up there, and I'd highly recommend any of those three. I'm close to unfortunately having to give this Aventador back to BigTimeRidez, but I gotta thank Cam again for letting me do a review and POV on this car. Thank you guys so much for watching. Guys, let me know what cars you want to see me review next, do a POV on next. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment what you think about the car, comment what you think about the Gintani exhaust. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, guys.